What's going on, everybody? Happy draft week to you. Welcome into my final draft video of the year in my final Cleveland Browns mock draft. I'm Jacob. I'm going to take you through my last mock draft of the year. Very excited to do so. We're brought to you by our friends over at Homage Apparel, as we always are. Got the Cleveland Browns Brown of the Elf Classic going on here today. There's a link down in the description. Go check them out. Get yourself ready for the NFL season as the draft is just a couple of days away. Now, as I record this, this coming out Tuesday morning, my final mock draft. I've already written this up for Browns Wire, but we're going to go through it, guys. But real quick, if you're here, you like what you're seeing, please give us that thumbs up and like this video and hit the subscribe button to come back for all that great content we got. We are really excited. Coming Friday, Tyler Johnson and I will live stream the entirety of day 2 as well as day 3 of the NFL draft. Got some really great guests coming by to talk some NFL draft as everything breaks down and goes through it. No Barking Browns tonight as we prepare for that. But yes, final mock draft. I'm so excited to share this with you guys. I'm really excited. I will say this, that the pick that I got at 74 is actually not my ideal dream draft pick, but I really like the way this is my favorite mock draft I've done this year. I used the NFL mock draft database as the simulator for this and this simulation. So I've been using the PFF quite a bit, so I really wanted to change it up and try to get some different things. And so I did. So let's get started. Let's check right away. I did not do any trades or anything like that. I just wanted to go full bore with the draft. So first pick right off the board. Round 3, pick 74, Gervon Dexter, the defensive tackle from Florida. 9.53 relative athletic score. He's 6'5", 310 pounds, and runs 4.88. This is the ultimate traits upside pick. This is a situation, we talked about this with David Njoku last year when the Cleveland Browns gave him all this money, and a lot of the money they were giving to David Njoku had to deal with what they thought David Njoku was going to become with what they had seen and what they on the field in practice as well as the games. That's what Gervon Dexter is, man. Like, this guy is a very raw, unfinished prospect. For the longest time, I was really off of Dexter's train because a lot of people were mocking him at 42, and by no means is he anywhere close to a finished enough prospect to be that high. But when you start moving back to 74 and we're starting to getting into the third round, and you're talking 73 players have already gone before the Browns pick, that's when you start betting on these upside guys with traits. And if Dexter can be taught what to do with his hands in a true pass rush plan consistently, he shows dominance from time to time. He plays with a high pad level. He's got to get that figured out. He can't stand straight up. But there are some flashes. He is way too athletic to be 310 pounds. He is way too strong to be that athletic. You're finding a very rare combination of traits that Dexter has, to where if you could put him in there and he could learn from a guy like Dalvin Tomlinson, who's a really good player all around at defensive tackle, and you put this guy next to Tomlinson and Myles Garrett and things like that, you could really start to have something. I think he would definitely be probably a role player this year. I wouldn't really want to go into the year with him being a starter, but he has just such a unique combination of characteristics and traits, and you can see it from time to time. He does disappear on film. There's some concerns I have there, but it's pick 74. You're talking about upside and traits with guys. I think Dexter has that in spades, and I'd be really excited to have him at pick 74. Excuse me, sorry, I got the hiccups tonight. All right, we'll move on to pick 98 here. I got Tucker Kraft, the tight end from South Dakota State. Now this one is interesting because I think this tight end class is just ridiculously talented. I don't know that Tucker Kraft will slip far enough for the Browns to get him at 98, but he did in this mock simulation, and I just think he's perfect at that for the Browns. 9.68 relative athletic score, 6'4", 254 pounds. PFF gave him a 76.6 receiving grade last year, and he has a 69.6 run blocking grade last year from PFF at South Dakota State. He was their offense. If you go and watch South Dakota State, and there was an injury, so he didn't play a ton in 2021 or 2022, so you got to look back at 2021. He was that guy. He's one of those guys where he was in a situation where he was much more talented than anybody else on that offense, and they still couldn't stop him. He's big, strong, reliable hands, can make the contested catches, can win with athleticism. Again, this is another player where we're going off to some projections, and I think that's the kind of swings and misses you take when you're not picking until 74 and 98. But you're looking at a guy that he'll need a little bit of time. I think because he's coming from a Division II school, he's didn't play in a Power 5 or anything like that. So there's going to be a massive jump in competition. But a freak level athlete, I mean, 9'6", it's getting to that freaky level. You got David Njoku, you got Jordan Akins. You do not need Tucker Kraft to perform. But here in 2-3 years, when Jordan Akins moves on, 2-3 years, maybe David Njoku doesn't work out. That's what Tucker Kraft can be. He has the skill set to evolve into a number one tight end on some team, and I think Cleveland would be a really good spot for him because they have two pretty proven players ahead of him that will not force him to play unless that he has there's some injuries, and you're like, yeah, we got to put Tucker Kraft out there. And if you can, I think he can still perform relatively well. But another guy, a lot of upside, really like Tucker Kraft. Could do some things for you now, especially on special teams and some spot stuff here and there. And I think two guys right off the rip with really high characteristics and really high ceilings. And that's what I'm trying to go for in this draft. And I think that's what Andrew Berry has kind of traditionally shown, that he's willing to take these players that are going to take some time to be guys, but because he believes that long term they can hit a really high ceiling. Into the fourth round, round 4, pick 111. That's Jartavius Martin, man. If you've been watching these draft videos recently, you know that Jartavius Martin is a guy that I'm really high on, the safety from Illinois. He's really a slot corner, 493 snaps in the slot last year, 177 snaps as a deep free safety. Where he really makes his living is in the run game. He had a 91 run defense grade last year from PFF. This dude wants to hit you. He's big, he's physical, he has really good straight short area quickness to work with those speedy, shifty wide receivers that are playing in the slot. He can cover them. He's really good in man coverage. I think he only allowed a 56.8% completion percentage when he was targeted last year. But if you're talking about a guy coming and playing downhill against the run, that's Jartavius Martin, man. This dude, he is an electric hitter, and he is trying to find a point in a game to show you what kind of electric hitter he is. And when he shows it, you're going to be aware of it. You're going to be like, oh, there's Martin. He's not missing tackles. He's not going to get out physical by some of the bigger slot receivers. If you get some of those big guys like DK Metcalf, who slides in from time to time, I'm not worried about that. I talked about this with John Suchan the other day on the Johnny Cleveland podcast. I said, I kind of look at Martin, and they're not the same player, but in terms of the type of corner, outside corner Martin Emerson is, that's the kind of slot defender Martin is. He's a bigger guy, a stronger guy, as opposed to some of the more athletic guys. He does run in the 4.4s, so he can keep up, but he's not like elite speed. But so some of those vertical things can get him from time to time. But he's got a high football IQ. He tracks the ball really well when it's in the air. He can play free safety. You don't really have depth at free safety or depth at slot. He can hit both of those. Andrew Berry loves these versatile players, and he will bring something to the game that they didn't have in the slot, and a physical hitter. Grant Delpit can at times, but I think Martin's a much more reliable hitter, and I just think that he would be a dose of what is kind of what the doctor ordered a little bit with Jartavius Martin. So I think he should be a guy that should be firmly on the Browns list. All right, guys. Now for a second pick in round 4, back to 124. I'm going to preface this saying this. I do not like this linebacker class. I think the Browns should get a linebacker. I'm not sure they will, because there could be a situation where I don't really like this linebacker class. But I'm going to take a linebacker. I'm going to take Noah Sewell. He's one of the few linebackers I'm good with, the linebacker from Oregon. He's one of those guys that's kind of middle of the pack. 73 pass rush grade, 72 coverage grade, an 8.38 relative athletic score. He's really interesting. He struggles with his technique when it comes to tackling. So that can be where some of the issues are as a run defense, is that he is kind of a guy that doesn't really form tackle all the time, wrap people up. That's really where he needs the most work. But he's got a really nice skill set. He does play traditionally as a Mike backer at Oregon, but they lined him up at an edge in the slot. He had as you can see there, a 73 pass rush grade. He was used. He has a lot of upside as a pass rusher, not just as a middle linebacker. But he can move all over the place. Plays with just a great motor. Like this dude is going to give you 100% on every snap, play through the whistle, every opportunity he is out there. Good athlete with an 8.338 relative athletic score. He's just a decent football player. I don't know if he's ever a Pro Bowler, an All-Pro, or anything like that. And I kind of hesitated even to take him at 126 because I'm just not sure that many linebackers, if you don't get like Campbell or Drew Sanders or Dorian Williams or Trenton Simpson, I think you're really going to be settling for a guy. And I think, yes, you're kind of settling for a guy in Sewell, but I think with his motor and his athleticism and speed, he can play special teams as well. And I think that once we're getting into this fourth round, that's also where we're starting to look at that sort of thing. Oh, we got to find these special teams guys. We got to figure out what's going on with this. So I think Sewell is a good player. That's where you're starting to get. He just has good, decent production with good experience and good football IQ. And I think he can play special teams and be a decent player for you. All right, guys, real quick, before we get into the final, I have 4 picks left. With the final 4 picks here in the draft, or 2-5, whatever. The final picks in the draft, we're going to step away real quick to hear from our friends at BetStamp for the only break of this video. What's up, guys? Today's podcast is brought to you by our friends over at the BetStamp app, which is helping thousands of people win at sports betting, and it's absolutely free. The same way travelers use things like Google Flights, Expedia, and other websites to find the best prices, bettors can now use the BetStamp app to do the same for sports betting. When you place a bet, the odds given by a sportsbook will determine how much you could possibly win. Even when betting on the same outcome, different sportsbooks will offer varying payouts, and those differences can be pretty big. Thankfully, BetStamp allows you to easily line shop for the most profitable odds across all the major sports books. You can click on any matchup and instantly see all the different odds from game lines, player props, and even futures bets. Line shopping is the simplest way to find an edge in sports betting and maximize your chances of winning long term. On average, BetStamp users win an extra $1,000 a year just by line shopping. For example, March Madness is tipping off. You want to make sure you're going to have all the tools needed to cash in on your predictions. The tournament is filled with exciting upsides, and BetStamp will connect you with the best possible odds for every pick you make. You can find the BetStamp app in the Apple iOS Store, Google Play Store, or through your browser at www.betstamp.app. To access all these benefits, sign up using our promo code NETWORK216, all one word, no space between network and 216, and start your journey to successfully sports betting today. If you forget to use the code upon sign up, you can always enter our code in your BetStamp account settings afterwards. So go check it out. And let's make some money. All right, guys, this is our friends over at BetStamp. Go check them out. All right, back in. Here's our first pick around in pick round 5. Here's what really interesting about this for me. I don't think they pick both at 140 and 142. They either use one of these to trade up in a package, or they trade back from one of these to garner future picks and potentially some picks this year as well as maybe some next year. But for this sake, I didn't do trades. I just wrapped it up with what if they stayed put in all of these positions. That's what I wanted to do for the final mock here. So let's go to round 5, pick 140, the first of their 5th round selections. I got the wide receiver Trey Palmer out of Nebraska. I really like Trey Palmer. I like these. There's a lot of guys here that I think overall there's not a ton of superstar power at wide receiver in this draft, but I do think there's a lot of guys that can be pretty good little niche players and fill some kind of roles. I think Trey Palmer's that guy. Listen, 226 snaps in the slot, 108 snaps out wide, 83.6 receiving grade, had like 10 drops last year. So there were some major drop concerns. That's part of the reason he is in the 5th round. But he, at his size, he's about around 6'1", 200 pounds, runs a 4.33. He can consistently get behind defenses. He's got the size to go up and win the contested catch balls, the extension and athleticism to do so. And he finds a way to win, and he can make people miss in the open field. And I can't get enough guys that run with elite speed. I mean, we've suffered for too long in Cleveland without guys that can run elite level speed. You do have a situation with him. You do have a situation with Marquise Goodwin that really puts Trey Palmer in a good situation. As long as there's not a major injury at wide receiver, Trey Palmer doesn't have to play much this year. He can sit, he can learn, he can grow, he can develop. He's a younger player. You get him out there, then he can slide into that Marquise Goodwin role next year and see where it goes from there. Looking for a guy that can really play, really move. That's Trey Palmer. I think it'd be a great addition in the 5th round, and so that's where he goes, the first 5th round pick. So let's go to the second 5th round pick. 2 picks later, pick 142. I got Nick Saldiveri, the offensive tackle. There we go, from Old Dominion. This guy's, I really like what I've seen from Saldiveri. This is a guy that a lot of people have been higher on than I have, and have been on him for longer than I have. Saldiveri, a lot of people think he's going to bust into right guard. He has kind of shorter arms, and he lacks kind of elite power. As you can see, I put that note on there. He needs work in the run game because he lacks the elite power to drive people away. But he's a really good athlete. A 9.47 relative athletic score at the position, an 85.1 pass blocking grade where he allowed 0 sacks in 2022 at Old Dominion. I think he can play tackle. Most people smarter than me tell you he's a guard, so I'll listen to them. And this is an athletic player who is a really good. He has really good technique as a run blocker. And you're talking about a really raw, undeveloped athletic tackle. Let Bill Callahan get his hands on a guy like Saldiveri. He could be the long-term answer at right tackle. Maybe, I don't know where they are exactly with James Hudson. That thing was kind of weird. The usage and the comparison between him and Hubbard and all that stuff that happened last year, I'm not really sure where they're going with him. But I think he'd be the long-term answer over there at right tackle or right guard if you're potentially looking to move on from Wyatt Teller's contract after 2023. I don't know if they will, but there's a possibility that that's out there. Saldiveri, really nice athletic player that needs some work on technique in the run game, and I think you can get that in Cleveland. All right, second to last pick. We're going to the 6th round, pick 190. We got the Evan Hall. I called him Ethan Hall over the weekend, so I really wanted to apologize for that. I kept calling him Ethan, even though his name's Evan. I don't know what's going on. Good athlete, 9.32 relative athletic score out of Northwestern. Had 54 catches in 2022, 73.5 rushing grade. He's just a good quality player. He has really good vision and patience. He is able to find the lane, and he's got good acceleration. He doesn't have home run speed, but he's able to find the lane, figure out where he needs to go, accelerate, hit the hole, make people miss. He'll break through arm tackles, got enough athleticism to shake people in the open field and get extra yardage. If you're looking for a quality 3rd down back that can really bring a lot of what Kareem Hunt brought in terms of pass catching and run style, I think Evan Hall's your guy in the 6th round. Final pick for my final mock draft. I'm going back to Oregon with Alex Forsyth, the center. I don't know what's going on with Nick Harris. I don't know what's going on with Dawson Deaton, both coming back from torn ACLs. I think Deaton gets listed as a guard, so maybe they want to kind of do. I don't know what they're going to do. Another 7th round offensive lineman, 85.8 pass blocking grade, no sacks allowed in 2022. A run blocking grade of 70.3. Moves pretty well. Doesn't have that true elite mauler style of run blocking, but he's good enough. But he is a really good athletic and really smart pass blocker. He understands the assignment. He understands how to win against players that may have more talent than him, that can put him in situations to not, he understands how to play the position, how to keep his quarterback clean, how to slide and change protections at the center position. And I think he's a really as quality of a player you can find in the 7th round. I think it's Alex Forsyth, the center out of Oregon. All right, guys, that is it. That's the last draft video before we actually have a draft class to talk about. Starting next week, I will begin my new series taking over for this, and I will start doing my film rooms for all the draft picks. So we'll start with their first pick and go from there. So I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you've enjoyed these draft videos over the last few months. I've really enjoyed making them for you guys. Please hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate you being here. The most valuable thing you can give somebody some of your time. So thank you so much for giving some more of your time to us. We'll see you guys again next time. Go Browns.